Good everyone, welcome to today's video. Today it's a review on the Chinese LVT A-4 Zis-2. The history of this thing is rather interesting, is all I will say, but I'm not going to go too much into it. Essentially, this vehicle started out as a 75mm howitzer variant, but the Chinese got their hands on a couple, chucked the 75 away, and bolted on a Russian Zis-2 anti-tank gun. Now, personally, I don't think this vehicle is very good. Obviously, that is subject to your own opinion. The reason for me not thinking this vehicle is very good is because it has a lot of flaws. And, well, yes, it's at 2.3, but so is the Su-76, which doesn't have as many flaws. And not only that, the Zis-30 is also at 2.3 and doesn't have as many flaws. And personally, I'd rather play either of those two over this thing. The amphibious capability, didn't even use it, personally. I didn't see the point. There just isn't any reason to use it, personally. The gun itself, use the stock round. Don't use the upgraded round. I personally don't see much of a difference. I just think there's no point spending lions on ammunition when you can just fire the stock round, which does better against angled surfaces anyway. So, what are the flaws of this thing? Because there's quite a few, and I'm going to fully admit that. There are quite a few flaws. So, let's start out with the armor. Now, I know it's an amphibious tank and it's going to have shit armor, but for the size of this thing, I don't think this is good enough. 6.35mm, with the thickest on the front being 12.7. Yeah, not impressive, is it? The front here of the turret, which has obviously a bit of a gap, is 38mm. That hasn't saved me once. The gun shield is 5mm thick, and obviously it's a cast, homogeneous, so it's even weaker. Side of the turret, 25.4. Rear of the turret, 25.4. And obviously she's open topped. So, yeah, planes are going to have a field day with this thing, especially ones on with 50 cal. Obviously, the rest of the hull is 6.35mm thick. And I just really don't see where this thing is usable because of the size of it. What you got to take into account is this thing weighs 18.3 tons, and barely any of that goes in terms of armor plating. Most of that is pure mass, nothing more. And obviously, this vehicle actually has one less crew member than the US LVT. And personally, when this thing first came out, I really didn't see why people called this thing overpowered. The only other flaw this thing has is the reload. Stock, it's about 9 seconds. On a max upgraded crew, you can get it down to 6.7. That's not bad. But it's a 57. And personally, I'd expect this thing to have a higher fire rate. You will notice a lot that people go for your driver if you try to reverse away. And what's in the front section? Your transmission, so good luck moving is all I'll say. The turret can only traverse 25 degrees either side, so you can only go 25 degrees this way, 25 degrees that way. You cannot do a full 360 rotation with this turret. That's its major flaw, really. That's one of its major flaws. 30 cal in the hull, it works. I've only used it once to clear a bush. That is it. Let's go over the stats. Obviously, they are subject to change because obviously I will be skin grinding this vehicle at some point. As you can see, 24 kills, 7 deaths, most of which were to aircraft. This thing is really weak to aircraft. I mean, even an aircraft armed with 30 cal could kill it. Hull breaking on this thing, because yes, it does have it, is questionable. Sometimes you get hull broken by complete bullshit, and sometimes you'd get, a bomb would go off about 300 meters behind you. Well, I'm being a being a bit generous there, but more like 200 meters behind you, and you'd get hull broken. The hull breaking on this vehicle is very weird, and if you get hit by a howitzer or any kind of bomb, you are probably going to get hull broken. Just bear that in mind. This thing's hull broke seems really dodgy. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just half-arsed in terms of the coding for it. But like I say, I'm not all that impressed with this vehicle, and with just 5 degrees of gun depression and 15 degrees of gun elevation, again, not that impressed. So let's jump into the battle and let's have a look at what I got up to with this thing. And like I say, I'm not impressed. The problem is with this vehicle, it just has too many flaws for it to be considered usable. Don't get me wrong, this thing can be used. I just don't think it's worth the pain of dying constantly to hull break and everything like that. And obviously aircraft as well. The Su-76 at least has the armor to take a couple of hits from aircraft's machine guns. This does not. I mean, you could maybe say the Su-76 has more of an open top, and you would be correct, but at least you have a gun shield that can actually protect you against aircraft. And, well, this is going to be another defeat, I'm afraid. So, obviously, this was actually my first game in the LVT, and it was the only decent one I could get at this thing. At least in my opinion. And it struggles to climb up hills stock. And I wasn't all that impressed by the thing, as I said. I think there are definitely better vehicles out there. The gun is a bit of a weird one. It's easy to aim, but obviously because the sights are so close together, it's hard to get used to them. If you get what I mean. Obviously I'm shooting at this Honey 3 here and I'm trying to get his range. And that shot that I was about to fire would have hit him, but a M5 killed him, a Chinese M5. Like I say though, this thing just has... It just doesn't feel that great. As I said, I don't see the point of this thing being at 2.3 for what it is. I personally wouldn't mind seeing this thing going down to 2.0. There's just not enough that says to me this thing's worthy of 2.3. It's just got too many flaws. And I was actually looking forward to reviewing this vehicle, and obviously after playing it, I'm not impressed, as I said. So obviously it is struggling to get up here, but the tracks module does make a good difference to the vehicle. So do remember to get your tracks module done, but once again, this is going to be another crap team. But at least the gun can do some good service. I mean, it's got about 140mm of penetration. It's good for pretty much any threat you'll see. There is an IGO hanger, who I don't know why you would bring that thing into this game, but even so, first kill. And there you can see a Chi-Hi, the funniest Japanese tank, because it goes Chi-Hi-Hi-Hi. I hit him, but I only get the commander. Obviously, we have got a bit of air support in the form of a Potes 631. And obviously, because I'm sat at a slant, you've got to get used to this gun in this sort of format. The trouble is, I've never fired this gun, this Zis-2, like this. So I'm not sure what to expect. And obviously, I'm adjusting and everything. I'm scoring hits on the Chi-Hi, but they're obviously hitting angled surfaces, so they're bouncing off. And I'm just not seeing how this thing is worthy of 2.3. Yes, the gun is worthy of 2.3. But the gun doesn't make the vehicle. Obviously, I've taken out 3 crew members in that Chi-Hi. I don't actually get the kill on him, I get the assist. But Someone say to me how this thing is worthy of 2.3, because I'd be more than happy to hear you. So obviously in this game, DTT was AFK doing something, I can't remember what. I think he was answering the door or something. I think his doorbell went, making a cameo appearance. And Sparta's come back in his CW21 and is, well, he's coming in, he's gonna lend a hand. Didn't actually know the Kinney had died to an M8, but even so. And you can see what I mean by the reload. Obviously, I didn't know he was dead, but once I saw that shell land, and I saw that, he was obviously dead. And the thing is that I just don't understand why this thing's got a 8-second reload. In most situations, obviously, if you GE your crew all the way, you can get down to 6.7, but personally, you're wasting your GE if you do that. Detract the GE here. Do I get the kill? I can't quite remember this one. Oh, I did get a kill. Sweet. Like I say, I hadn't watched this replay for a little bit, because I've obviously been spading other vehicles and grinding skins. But, yeah, this vehicle is just one of those that I don't think should be at its BR. It's very similar to the RA 2002 that DTT covered. He thinks it's over tiered at 2.3, and I agree with him. It needs to be 2.0. And it's the same story with this thing. I don't think this thing's worthy of 2.3. And obviously down there, an M8's just been taken out by a 105mm Sherman. The Zis-2 cannon can perfectly deal with a 105 Sherman. In fact, it is more than capable, because obviously the angled surface of the Sherman cannot stop the 57. And obviously because of the angle we're at, it's even better, because it will just slice right through it. Obviously the Sherman's down there. Fire my first shot, it does hit the side armor, but casual bit of readjustment, and gone. Third kill. Like I say, this thing's a very good sniper, and that's probably why people thought it was overpowered back in the day, because yeah, people used to think this thing was overpowered. I don't know where they got it from, but obviously that was when I think the US had it. Yeah, the US has this thing available for their lineup, which makes no sense, but even so. Obviously, I'm letting Sparta know that there's a Key 44, but the I-16 Chung 28 deals with him perfectly fine. Do actually find the Chung 28 to be usable in ground forces. I've used it as a air superiority fighter, and it actually does pretty alright. I'm not gonna lie. Took it up into a 2.3 game when I finished Spade in this LVT, and it actually did pretty alright. People didn't expect to see an I-16 Chung 28 and then try and dogfight with it. And it would whoop their ass because of the performance. Do I still think the Chung 28's a good plane? Hell fucking no it isn't. Just because I've had a good time with it in ground forces don't mean anything. It's still bad. So obviously we are getting to the point where the team is just completely going. Like, there's one guy named Foscos. He's in a M5. He will come back. I actually thought that was a tank over there. It's not. What was I going to say? He comes back in an SU-76. P400 just shot down Sparta. But, like I said, though, it just... He just drags out the match. And we really didn't see a point of why he was doing it. We knew this game was over. We knew we was going to lose just by looking at the team composition. I mean, we got one guy in their frickin' spawn for a start. I think that's a Chihawk Kai, if I remember rightly. Oh no, it is Foscos who's in their spawn area. He doesn't do much for this team. Spoiler alert. I don't know what that sound bug was there. That is Gaijin's end. There's been an awful lot of sound bugs with replay files, I've noticed. Replay files, in-game, tank battles have been a lot of sound bugs. This patch was rushed. And to be honest, I could rant about it, as I said in the M3A3 battle. At least I think I said that. But to be honest, I cannot be arsed. So here comes an LVT. I somehow hull break him with a 57, even though hull break works off of 75mm and above, but I heard about the fucking rules. And that is my final kill for the game. Until light ice, I think he's trying to spell there, kills me a couple of minutes later. And well, in fact, there he is now, but you know I'm gonna die. I've said I'm gonna die, so yeah. And that brought my first game in this thing to a close. Like I say, I just was not impressed. It was one of those vehicles that just did not, and the replay, there we go. Try to turn the camera so you can actually see the tank properly. I just think, for what this thing's reputation was when it first came out, it doesn't live up to it at all. I mean, as you saw there, the M5 put a shot through the gearbox, fair enough, did destroy it, and wounded the commander. But personally, I didn't really see how that's much... Like, the survivability of this thing is based off of people being crap at aiming. Most people are not bad at aiming. And that's one thing you'll notice with this thing. So personally, if I was you, I would go with the Su-76 tank destroyer. It not only packs more punch with its 76 being able to one-shot more effectively, but it's also got more survivability, and it doesn't get hull broken. But anyway, I'll let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on the LVT A-4 Zis-2. Like I say, I'm not impressed, but obviously subject to opinion, and I will see you all on the next one.